Following the encounter in the amber-smocked tomb, the adventurers informed the Lord's Alliance of the presence of were-rats within the city, as well as the loss of the fabled sword, Flame Tongue, to Emerald Enclave agents. Fearing the loss of more treasured artifacts, the Lords send agents to keep watch on assets within the city. Standing guard near the city gates, the adventurers spy three figures advancing under the cover of darkness. As the silent shapes draw closer to the city, more details emerge, including a familiar face. Lieutenant Oakshade stifles a gasp as recognition dawns on him. Creeping through the gloom alongside her new companions is the barefoot Madeline, the group's former comrade in arms and Oakshade's former wife. "She's made her choice, Sergeant," Oakshade whispers. Damek continues to stare back, his eyes a pool of conflicted emotions. "But sire, it's Madeline." "I know who she is, Sergeant Damek. She's a traitor to the crown, and her merry band of thieves continues to steal from this fair city." Oakshade loads a crossbow bolt and moves to unsheath his rapier. Bran places a firm hand on the hilt before the blade is fully drawn, but Oakshade jerks it away. No mercy to enemies of the crown. The tense moment is broken by new arrivals, skittering silhouettes rising from the storm drains near the canal. Oakshade seizes the initiative and runs across the concourse towards the storehouse, opening the door to enter the building. He's shocked to see a were-rat already in the building and fires off a quarrel into the vermin. Two Tails bounds forward and enters the building from the opposite side, and pouncing on the chest, grabbing the prize, a lance-bored rook. Sergeant Damek races towards the remaining Enclave agents who are still in the distance. Steelheart rushes forward to support Oakshade, and once in the building, places their armored form in front for defense. Startled by the arrival of so many agents in the storehouse, the were-rat lunges at Two Tails with its dagger. The wild slash scores into Two Tails' arm, dropping the rook. The other were-rats scramble forwards in the gloom. The wizard Miliamni sends a touch of spring to move currents of air, propelling Madeline towards the nearest chest. He then moves forward, calling poisonous, biting insects to engulf a were-rat. Emboldened by wind in her back and seeing the were-rat move towards Damek, barefoot Madeline skirts the fountain towards the goal. Two Tails picks up the fallen rook and takes a wild swipe with his claws at the were-rat, but the skittering beast avoids the fumbled blow. Steelheart moves forward, lining up the Emerald Enclave agent in a booming blast from Artificer gloves. Two Tails crashed into the wall behind him with the force. Moving up, barefoot Madeline skips up onto the fountain edge, grabs the soul-catching shields and vaults down again. Following the information from the Enclave spies, Miliamni runs past the were-rat and circles the storehouse looking for the another chest. The storehouse were-rat stabs at Steelheart, the blade slipping between armored plates, whilst rats chase after Miliamni and Damek. The rat closest to Damek leaps at him, but he manages to sway out of the way of the dagger. Spotting a figure running around the storehouse, Damek moved to cut them off, leaving the were-rat behind. More quarrels fly as Oakshade snapshots and moves in towards the beleaguered Enclave agent. Arrows sink into Two Tails, who once again drops the rook. Pushing the attack, Oakshade fires repeatedly again, his steady arm bringing renewed confidence in his abilities as Two Tails yowls in pain when the quarrels strike true again. Reeling from the barrage of attacks, Two Tails picks up the rook again and flees through the storehouse door. Throwing a fist with the thunder gauntlets at the were-rat and weakening it, Steelheart then pursues Two Tails to the doorway. Damek continues to stalk around the storehouse towards Miliamni. The weakened storehouse were-rat follows Steelheart and leaps with dagger raised, but the blow doesn't land through her armor. Outside, another were-rat attacks from behind and stabs their dagger into Miliamni. Seeing a were-rat on her trail, Barefoot Madeleine strikes with her poison lash and backs off. Miliamni throws buzzing insects to distract and poison Damek, whilst moving and picking up the potion of Future Sight. Emboldened by successfully claiming a prize, he is rewarded with portents of the future. Miliamni can see a path to escape, calling the spring winds to speed him on his way. Oakshade turns his crossbow on the were-rat, careful to avoid his companion, Steelheart. Staggering from the wounds, Two Tails rushes to the final chest, grabbing the antidote and turning back towards his comrades. Damek shakes off the swarm of poisoned insects and gives chase to the fleeing Miliamni. The were-rat slashes into Steelheart again, eliciting a cry of pain whilst the other rats move to find their elusive prey. Lashing out at the pursuing were-rat, Barefoot Madeline's whip entangles on the stone corner the rat is crouching behind. Steelheart closes the door behind herself to seal the were-rat in and spots another rat and two tails. She charges and fires thunderbolts into her enemies, missing the were-rat but striking two tails. Falling to the ground from the devastating thunderbolts, Two Tails slips into unconsciousness and drops the rook and antidote. Steelheart races forward, moving around the were-rat to grab the fallen stash. She turns and lets loose a booming blast to push the were-rat further away. Continuing to run to shake off pursuit, Miliamni launches more insects towards his foes. Turning towards the noise outside the storehouse, Oakshade pursues the fleeing Miliamni, firing his crossbow repeatedly. The were-rats continue to follow the agents, and Steelheart again feels the bite of the vermin's blade. Seeing the storehouse unguarded as Oakshade chases the Enclave agent, Damek turns to guard the entrance. He approaches, he sees a were-rat lurking just within the doorway, and lays upon him his hands of hate. The rat squeals, and Damek feels energized by striking out against such horrible creatures. Spotting Miliamni, Barefoot Madeline races towards her beleaguered companion. Meliamne attempts to confuse her foes by rushing the storehouse, then calling Touch of Spring to move through walls back into the alley behind the building. Madeleine continues forwards and catches up with her companion. Damick trades blows with the were-rat, but fails to land any. Confused by Meliamne's movements, Oakshade's crossbow shots miss and go wide. He engages the were-rat, but receives a slashing cut from its dagger. The were-rat distracted, Steelheart strikes with the Thunder Gauntlet, killing the beast, then gives chase to the Enclave agents. Barefoot Madeleine turns, pronouncing, "Enough of this." Blinding light fills the night, and the Madeleine, Meliamne, and Two Tails vanish into the night. The agents of the Lord's Alliance regroup inside the storehouse. They feel buoyed by their success in controlling the storehouse, but regret the losses of items to the Enclave. Questions still abound, though. Why are the Enclave targeting storehouses within the city? Why is there valuable items scattered within and around the storehouse? Why, too, are were-rats seemingly gathering such valued items of treasure? Yet again they take these mysteries back to their lords in the hope of answers.